Mr. Chairman, Comrade Chairman, most honorable Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, members of the Cabinet, comrades from the Cabinet, Ministers of State, Ambassadors, MPs, members of the opposition, because they were invited, I agree, the media, civil society, Pnpyo members, comrades, audience, good evening. This 7545, that's our number. And we hope someone's informed, Toots. And I know former Prime Minister is a former manager of a band. I don't know. But I hope someone's informed that so he can update his records accordingly. I take great pleasure in welcoming you to this, our inaugural lecture, which signals the PNP's 75th and the Pnpyo's 45th anniversary respectively. This lecture will examine the overarching theme, youth and politics, apathy, conscience, and chasm. It is quite propitious that we should examine the theme this afternoon because it is felt deeply throughout the Jamaican society and the world indeed, that this squad, the youth, has become apathetic to the political processes and are bereft of the social conscience that we are, and as it were, distanced from our elders with some form of cultural and generational chasm. We must confront this concern tactically and through open debates and public probing. Indeed, comrades and friends, this intellectual tradition is a sigil of the People's National Party and the Pnpyo. Without doubt, Comrade Patterson is eminently qualified to guide us through this complex issue inherent to this theme. He himself is defined by excellence in scholarship and a sharp social conscience. Indeed, it was he who chaired the appraisal committee that was handmaiden of the PNP youth movement that we are today. I have every confidence that he will at once delight and challenge us. Today, the Pnpyo will be engaging in a torch lighting exercise. The exercise will involve original members of the Pnpyo who witnessed with then leader Michael Manley the birth of the movement in 1969. And so, like that mythical West African bird, Sankofa, we return to where we all belong, and with a view to move forward, with a lighted torch in hand, guiding our sojourn along a new, uncharted pathway. This is the symbolism of returning to Excelsior High School this evening to light the torch, which eventually will make its way back to the PNP headquarters this evening, and then at several PNP meetings, culminating with our mega annual conference in September. At the conference, our resolute comrade leader, the most honorable Portia Simpson Miller, will then pass on the lit torch to a child, and this is a especially powerful symbol given the current concerns overwhelmingly unfounded about the government uncaring to the nation's children. So as I conclude, friends and comrades, I reiterate our delight in having you all share in this important milestone with us. It is my fervent hope that this serves as a defining moment to re-engage the Jamaican youth in the political process in a very serious and non-token way. Each of you today, all of our role to play. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very, very much.
Comrade members of Parliament, members of the diplomatic corps, and I must pause to officially welcome Comrade Floyd Green. and his delegation, representing G2K this evening. Comrade members of the people, comrade members of the People's National Party's Youth Organization, members of the media, good evening. Is there anyone here who would like to be a politician? Any of the youngsters? Alright, let's get about 5 months. You know, life would be dull if there were no difficulties. Of course, this is a very famous saying which signifies the very aspect of life. Today's youth is very ambitious and enthusiastic. Wants to do something for the benefit of its own being, the community, as well as the nation. We, the youth, dream of becoming a doctor, an engineer, a chartered accountant, or very rarely a policeman and a soldier. But never does anybody like to step in the world of politics. Is today's youth ready to join politics? Or to have the name tag of being a politician? Well, there is only a handful, certainly shown by the hands that were raised. Probably 1 in 100. Who would like to become Prime Minister and to strive and to work hard for doing so? More of the nation's youth believe in politics nowadays, though there are some who don't. We, the youth, want to do something for the nation, but our growth is hampered by growing corruption and the perception thereof in politics. Many people believe that young people, being of a tender age, do not fully comprehend the intrigues connected with politics, for which it is often called a dirty game. If the youth get entangled in political activities, they will lose direction and purpose. Another fear is that the politics is dominated by middle-aged and old people. If the youth also enter the political arena, there is sometimes an atmosphere of rivalry. And you would have seen a prominent example by the arrival of the Young Turks in recent years in the Jamaica Labour Party. Often it is cited that young people lack interest and concern in politics, and that they show indifference to the political process. I am sure that Comrade Patterson will speak to us with respect to the apathy that maintains in our society. But to begin to acknowledge why young people may be apathetic towards the political process, it is crucial to understand how the youth view politics and how these views have been acquired. For some, it would seem that there is a definite lack of education to what politics is, rather than a complete lack of interest. I am saying, and I'm making the call again, the People's National Party's Youth Organization is calling for the introduction of compulsory political education in the curriculum of secondary education in Jamaica. With no statutory political education, political understanding would have had to be acquired from the environment through interaction with friends and family, and through personal experiences, or from privileged schools with the ability and resources to be able to offer subjects outside the scope of the national curriculum. These, of course, being private schools. It can be seen, therefore, that a child from a well-to-do family or from a privileged geographic area is likely to have a more diverse political understanding than one who is not. And so the call for a compulsory political education in schools is justified. The role of media must not be underestimated in its positive and negative influences on the political understanding and education of our youth. We have seen in Jamaica that media reports are usually taken as credible, even in a landscape where we know that stories that are controversial will receive instant media coverage. Therefore, when 80% of what journalists report about politics and politicians is negative, they must understand that they contribute to the demonizing nature and perception of the occupation. Of course, whilst radio and TV stations and newspapers usually trumps issues of contention over accuracy of content and censor issues not to their own political taste, the latest medium which young people are more inclined to, the internet, largely manages to sidestep this phenomenon. The internet puts publishing in the hands of the masses, giving most people the opportunity to let the world know what they think. The result is a diverse collection of electronically published material, which is generally also easy to find. In the past, if someone found a matter of interest to them, they may not have bothered to research it further because it would take too long. A web search can just take seconds, so encouraging political involvement is only a click away. This is especially true for young people who are generally more computer literate than their older counterparts. Of course, the free market, consumerism, which is the driving force of capitalism, brings with it the promise of choice. It is obvious that most choices are made in the pursuit of the pleasure which the advertisements portray. Although there is a live coverage of our parliamentary sessions, it is of little wonder that young people choose instead to watch music channels, sport channels, and movie channels. Mainstream youth culture is apathetic towards politics because there is a choice, of course, between boring politics or pleasurable entertainment. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. The youth wants to do something in life. We have aspirations, beliefs, faith to make our nation stronger. Young people think there should be the removal, and I repeat, the removal and not the reduction of poverty, unemployment, and the perception that over 80% of Jamaicans share, and that perception is that politics is the most corrupt profession. As an organization, the PNP's youth organization believes that it is important not just to have these discussions in an elaborate fashion such as this, but that the message should be taken to the base of society, in schoolrooms and in public spaces within the communities, in churches, in bars, however remote a geographic location they may be. We, the members of the People's National Party's youth organization, stand ready and prepared to take the message of social justice and equality, the founding principles of the People's National Party, to every nook and cranny of our beloved country. We anticipate that after having listened to the presentation by Comrade Patterson, we will be more charged and more ready to take on the mantle as we continue the progress of organizing today's youth for the future of Jamaica. I thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Alan Campbell. I now call on Comrade Robert Pickersgill, Chairman of the People's National Party and Officer in charge of the People's National Party Youth Organization, to bring greetings from the People's National Party.
Mr. Chairman, let me say that I adopt as my opening salutations offered by previous speakers. But I would be remiss if I did not particularize and mention our distinguished guest lecturer and the representatives of the I'm in a good mood because I'm coming from a nomination ceremony that went down very, very well. Can't tell you the Pnpyo is alive. And from up here, you all look very, very beautiful. I was asking for that too. Unlike the distinguished chairman of the Pnpyo, I might not be as long, sir, because I know that for the intervention to be immortal, it doesn't have to be eternal. And I am reminded as well that for a tribute, it should be, let's say, like a woman's breast, you know, long enough to cover the subject, but short enough to be interesting. I will go by the last part. Standing here, I have a feeling of deja vu. Although I must confess that I'm not recalling the event over some 40 years ago, as you can see, 45, in every last detail or material in particular. But I remember the event. Nonetheless, it brings back happy memories. I'm not going to dwell on this aspect of our history since we have none other than a former distinguished President and Prime Minister of our noble party, Comrade P.J. Patterson, as our guest lecturer. And yet another very important personality I think is here to introduce him. As I've said on many previous occasions, and this one is relevant, whatever I've done or achieved in this party has been greatly inspired by him. In fact, Mr. Chairman, he interviewed me and recommended me for my job in the party as a member of the original secretariat. Well, you clap me for that now. He introduced me to Northwestern Catholic, and I must say, Julian, I'm a 6-star general with Northwestern Catholic. And this is against the background where, on the death of that great stalwart of the Pnpyo, Comrade Jack Stevenson, the constituency was asking for Comrade Patterson, not for me. But instead, he took the decision to go back to his beloved West Side and then took the opportunity to introduce me to the constituency. He was responsible for my being able to sit on the executive of the People's National Party at the feet of none other than the founder of the party, Norman Washington Manley. You see, Mr. Chairman, at that time, he and the Comrade Spalding were the young lions of the Pnpyo, and they decided that members of this original secretariat should have the opportunity to sit on the executive. You can imagine what fond memories I have of that. And of course, the tribute I paid to this great man, P.J. Patterson. He has enabled me to sit in the Jamaican cabinet over many years. He was instrumental in my becoming the first chairman of the Pnpyo, and of course, he was instrumental in me becoming, I think, the 5th chairman of the People's National Party. So wherever I go publicly, and especially on occasion like this, I pay tribute to him. he has had a whole lot to do with whatever achievements I can be credited with the People's National Party. However, I'm not here to introduce it. I'm here to bring greetings, and I know that it's clear that your father knows what I'm saying. I'm not here to introduce him, but to bring greetings from the parent body, the People's National Party, and I do so most sincerely. I welcome you all in the name of our 75-year-old party, and this is an occasion to celebrate that milestone. In doing so, I'm mindful that it is none other than Nelson Mandela, whose birthday is being celebrated today, and I think it is referred to as Mandela Day. You can decide whether it's a coincidence on the part of Pnpyo. I don't know. We are proud as a party that we played an important role in dismantling the apartheid system in South Africa. In that regard, we remember now two of our national heroes. National hero Marcus Garvey, our founder, the great Norman Washington, and of course, our former President Michael Manley, and our esteemed guest speaker, Pnpyo Lecture. And I don't know how many of you were looking at the television today, but I saw some documentary which included our present leader with Winnie Mandela, and both of them made such a beautiful picture. As I indicated, this is what one of the functions celebrating our 75th anniversary, and the arms of the party will do their contribution, namely the women's movement, and I refer to an excellent conference they had last Sunday, and today it is a contribution of the youth arm, and no doubt in due course you'll hear from the NW. I should point out the following important milestones in our country's history. The end of Jamaica 50 celebrations and the beginning of the next 50 years of political independence. The 175th anniversary of full freedom. The 275th anniversary of the Compound Maroon Treaty. And the 75th anniversary of the labor movement of Jamaica. Of course, we are not necessarily celebrating the 70th anniversary of another organization. All those anniversaries that I referred to will be culminating in the gala celebrations of our independence during the month of August. However, I'm here once more, as I've said before, to bring greetings, and these, as I said, should be short, not eternal. I end by once more congratulating the Pnpyo, who falls under my portfolio as chairman. And I know that the conference will turn out to be what we are all expecting and anticipating, since we are no less a person than a great giant and stalwart of the People's National Party, Pnpyo Lecture, as our guest lecturer. Indeed, the theme is an interesting one: youth and politics, apathy, conscience.
Ladies and gentlemen, I remind you that the torch is a part of the party's anthem. So if you look at the back of our program, Jamaica Rise, we would like to sing that song upon the iconic wall. Will you stand for the party's anthem?